Lies that made it to the Bible. The fabrication of Joseph in ancient Egypt. The story of Joseph, as presented in the Bible, stands as a cornerstone of the narrative of divine providence and resilience. It tells of a young man sold into slavery by his brothers, who rose to power in ancient Egypt. However, this account, celebrated as a testament to the triumph of faith, did not happen. It is a lie like many stories in the Holy Bible. A closer examination reveals it not only as a fabrication but also as a tool that perpetuated stereotypes, justified slavery, and distorted the legacy of one of Africa's greatest civilizations, ancient Egypt. At its core, the story of Joseph presents a glaring contradiction to historical records. Ancient Egypt, known for its meticulous documentation, has no record of Hebrews living in ancient Egypt. The Bible's description of Joseph as a foreigner who, through divine intervention, became second only to Pharaoh in authority is a lie. Such a dramatic rise would be unprecedented in ancient Egypt's rigid and stratified society, yet no Egyptian texts corroborate this claim. This lack of evidence raises the question, was Joseph's story a lie designed to serve a particular religious or political agenda? By framing the Egyptians as morally and spiritually inferior to Joseph's God, the narrative elevates the Israelites while diminishing the contributions and achievements of the African civilization. The story's portrayal of ancient Egyptians as oppressors and pagans feeds into a long history of African stereotyping. Ancient Egypt, a beacon of culture, science, and governance, is depicted in the Bible as a backdrop for the Israelites' struggles and triumphs. This framing undermines ancient Egyptians' agency and reduces their role to mere antagonists in a tale of divine deliverance. Moreover, by portraying Joseph as a savior figure who implements reforms that allegedly saved ancient Egyptian Africans from famine, the story diminishes the Egyptians' intelligence and capabilities. It implies they were incapable of managing their resources without foreign intervention, a narrative that echoes colonial justifications for exploiting African nations centuries later. One of the most troubling aspects of the Joseph narrative is its implicit acceptance of slavery. Joseph's rise to power begins with his sale into bondage, yet the story frames this injustice as part of God's divine plan. This perspective not only normalizes slavery but also suggests that suffering under such conditions can be redemptive. This narrative has had far-reaching consequences. By presenting slavery as a stepping stone to divine favor, it perpetuates the notion that enslavement is an acceptable means to an end. In the context of African history, such stories have been used to justify the transatlantic slave trade and colonial domination, often couched in religious rhetoric. Perhaps the greatest disservice of the Joseph lie is its distortion of ancient Egypt's legacy. Ancient Egypt was a civilization of immense complexity, innovation, and influence, yet biblical narratives often reduce it to a setting for Israelite stories. The focus shifts from Egypt's achievements to its alleged moral failings, erasing its role as a leader in human progress. By framing Egypt as the antagonist, the story contributes to a broader pattern of erasing African accomplishments. It perpetuates the idea that Africa's most significant contributions to history come not from its people but through the intervention of outsiders. Recognizing the story of Joseph as a lie rather than a historical fact provides valuable insights into the power of religious narratives to shape perceptions of history. These stories are not neutral, they carry the weight of the agendas and biases of their authors. The Joseph narrative, in particular, served to elevate one group while undermining another, casting doubt on the authenticity of the Bible's portrayal of history. The story of Joseph being sold into slavery and rising to power in ancient Egypt is more than a lie, it is a narrative that has degraded and distorted the achievements of an African civilization. It perpetuated harmful stereotypes, justified exploitation, and reshaped history to fit a theological agenda. By critically examining such myths, we can challenge the biases they perpetuate and reclaim a more accurate and respectful understanding of Africa's rich and complex history.